Swiss Cheese Radio podcast. I'm your host, Brodinky. With me, as always, is my good friend Schmidt in your place for the horological hot takes, taboo topics, and often unpopular watch opinions. Schmitty, what's going on, bud?
Hey man, it's good to be back. I know we had a little bit of a delay this week, but
Listen,
good.
listen. I'm just happy I haven't hacked up a lung yet on the feed. All right. I had been dealing, I had some sick kids earlier in the week, and then they got me, and I didn't feel like I could string together a few paragraphs worth of verbiage without hacking. So I was like, all right, we'll just keep putting it off until I feel like I can go. So finally today, I felt like I was good to go. I've been drinking a lot of fluids. I feel like it's finally time, and we've had a good amount of news drop, so
Yeah.
should be a fun one.
Well, I'm glad you're on the mend, man. It's this time of year is like the bubonic plague for anybody that has kids, and just in general, the season chain and
Yeah, I mean it's my throat gets all dry when the seasons change anyway, and then they got me on top of it. So I've just been like just making disgusting sounds all day long.
it happens. It happens.
Yeah, it does happen. But how are things by you?
No, man, everything's good. Kids are doing all right. Getting excited and ready for the holidays are right around the corner. We got Thanksgiving coming up in a few short weeks, and then we're on to everyone's favorite holidays. So rounding out the end of the year, which is kind of crazy to admit that we're already at the end of the year
Yeah,
mark, which
pretty
is
wild.
nuts. But yeah, everything's good, man. Just living the dream as much as I can.
Yeah, I've already seen the Christmas decorations going up, so it's time. It's that time of year. Poor Thanksgiving. It always gets passed over. It's always
And it's worse every year. Like
yeah,
every year, it's like progressively worse.
yeah. Every year Christmas gets closer to Halloween. But yes, so
It's so true. It's
I've
so
already
true.
seen the decorations. I see people putting up inflatable snowmen and stuff, and I'm like, oh boy, all right. I wasn't
Yeah,
ready
here
for
we
the
are.
dead of winter yet, but I guess now that it's getting dark at five
I mean,
o'clock,
it's getting cold. It's getting cold. I mean, I'm pretty sure. Like I was checking the temperatures out your way. It's like it's got to be what in the 40s, 50s right now.
yeah, yeah,
So I mean, we're getting high 50s, 60s here, which is cold and for us, and obviously we're getting a lot of rain and it's like misty. Just like this is the kind of weather where you just get sick. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
Everything is just wet.
It's
Yeah,
just gross. It's just gross. But here we go. Winter is upon us.
yeah. It's been an eventful couple weeks here. So
That's saying that's saying a lot.
we got plenty to talk about. I guess I'll put the postmortem on Men Wear Pink. Thank you for everybody who contributed, both donation wise, prize wise, whatever it is. I know I sent out the last few prizes this week, and yeah, it was cool. We raised just under 20 G's, which in today's economy is phenomenal.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
Thank you guys.
in talking with the guy who was my contact, he said it was just kind of a tough year across the board. So the fact that we were even able to do that was big. So yeah, and I said we're happy to help out, and it was a good time. So people got some cool watches. We put out some cool straps. So you don't have to hear me talk about it anymore till next year. So that's cool.
Until you reprise your role again, right?
uh, um, yeah, and then Peter asked me to join his Movember team, and I'm like, dude, I just got done with this, man. I literally just
Hey,
got done with this.
hey, but you're doing the push-ups, all right? It's
I'm
fine.
just doing it. I said, listen, whatever comes in, comes in. I was like, I'll help you get the word out. I was like, I can't spearhead this thing.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm
I
exhausted.
mean, it's enough to push, real, men wear pink. I guess now there's no real men wear pink, but men wear pink. Um, and really do this. I mean, even something as simple as straps. And a lot of people don't see that behind the scenes. Like I kind of know a little bit more about what you do and how you push it and everything like that. And I don't think people really understand that it is complex to get these watches and build connections where people are willing to give these things to you to pass on to others. And that's not a small feat for sure.
No, it's definitely a challenge, and it's also hard. Like I even said when they asked if I wanted to do the push up thing, I was like, listen, it's gonna be a stretch for me to put my hand out and be like, hey, does anybody want to donate any money? Even though he just did. Like I was like, it's
Yeah.
not gonna be like Men Wear Pink. It's just not. I was like, I'll help you with the, the exposure and everything. That's cool. I'll do it alongside you guys. Tim, it's Under the Cuff, Watch Poppy, a bunch of people, and then we're
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
it. And whatever. At the end of the day, if we raise a couple bucks for a good cause, awesome. But I'm like, I can't just like
No,
I
it's a
can't be
lot,
that
man.
guy.
It's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
So yeah, so I am doing it. You'll see me doing it, but just a quick thanks to everybody who helped out with Men Wear Pink. We did a good thing. So until next year, and I've already got something in the works for next year, so that's good.
Wow, starting early. All right.
Well, you know what happened
Just
was so,
just finished, getting ready to go.
some a company that we like a lot happened to
Mm.
be chatting with me, and they were like, "Hey, are you doing another fundraiser?" I was like, "Yeah, but it's like over now." And they're like, "Oh, all right, next year." And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna screenshot this and hold you to that." So
Yes.
so that's exciting. That's good.
Well, hey, that makes it a little bit easier for you, right?
Yes, yes, a little less stress. That's all. It goes a long way. It does. So we've got a fair amount of new stuff here. I'm gonna lead out with Breitling because we've been giving them enough crap about sort of taking it easy lately. They've brought back the Avenger in a couple different forms, and I'm sure people have probably seen the chronographs by now. But there's also a smaller 42 mil, just an automatic, and then there's also a GMT.
Yeah.
Um, these I like these. These are very Breitling to me. Like I appreciate that they
Yeah,
didn't go
yeah.
super one way. Like they still brought in a little bit of the colors with the sort of pistachio and the blue and the tan, but they kept it with that steel look, that aggressive Breitling design. The straps look really nice with it. I like these. I'm with it. They're expensive, no doubt. I mean, they're BO1s and all. They're
Yeah,
like
for
eight
sure.
grand.
But I also feel like these are some of the most price accessible O1s within their collection,
Yeah, I mean they
which
go up.
is I mean they go up fast. I mean,
Yes.
look at a Naviton, you're adding 2+ grand to that.
Yeah, for
And it's
sure.
essentially the same movement. So I mean, I'm with you, man. I like these a lot. You and I are kind of joking off air. It's like, where have these been all year?
Yeah,
It's
we've been like Breitling, come on,
like,
here
what
they
are you
are.
doing? What are you doing? You got Iron Man watches and school, sports teams watches. Great, that's awesome. But like, what's the real meat? And I agree with you. I think the colorway is really nice, but for me, I think what makes it most attractive is it's light enough to still be normally like everyday wear,
Yeah,
but it is still in that same kind of color vein that, like, it's obviously military inspired, right? Like you have green army fatigues, you got kind of like this navy version, like sand camo. Like, even though these are not camo watches, but they're very much military watches. You know what I mean?
yeah, they read like uniform colors. Yeah,
Exactly. Exactly. And I got to say that was a smart move, because I know a lot of regulations now within the military, it gets very difficult to be able to wear certain things, certain colors, and you kind of have to keep things, consistent with your uniform and what you're allowed and you can and cannot wear. So, obviously this is designed with intention. It's designed to fit a certain, kind of demographic of people. And I think it's going to achieve it very well. I think these are good looking watches.
yeah, and the automatic's not terribly priced at 4,600.
No,
But
no.
they give me especially on the bracelet. I was a big fan of like the steel fish, and these are
Yes.
very reminiscent
Yes.
of that, which I like a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a good design. You get the the bezel riders at the quadrants at 15, 30, 45. You also have the raised marker, so you get essentially kind of like a diving bezel, but it's kind of rough and rugged. Looks kind of like a pilot bezel too. It's a good design. I think it's well executed. Price point is fair. I think this will be a popular watch for a lot of people that are getting into Breitling.
Yeah,
So
and a little more reserved than the Fugazi Slow Chrono Super Ocean,
yeah, I mean,
right?
again,
Those
I
are a
don't.
little out there. These are a little more bringing it back in.
Again, this this is why I'm just like, where's your direction, right? Like, You got bangers, and then you got stuff that's just like, what is this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I think Breitling really needs to either pick a direction, whether are they going to go back to classic, kind of Breitling style, or are they going to go back to like military aviation style, which is kind of what built their business, especially in a modern context. So I'm excited to see that. I was also pleasantly surprised that they also released the night mission watches in ceramic,
Yeah.
which I think was pretty sweet, especially given the price point. These are 9,300 US in ceramic. Now, keep in mind it's going to be, basically ceramic bezel, ceramic mid case.
Right.
Pushers and crown are going to be alternate metal, as is the case back and clasp, things like that. But overall, it's not easy to make a ceramic watch, especially with this level of kind of dimensionality and intricacy to the case and bezel design. So it's kind of cool to see that they were able to articulate that into ceramic and craft it in such a unique material, and still kind of give you the kind of stealthy, Breitling aesthetic that a lot of people love.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good look. It's a good look. They're kind of they're really in the same bucket with Tag Heuer. They really are. Like where you're like, these are
Like, what
cool.
what are you doing?
These are cool, but what are you doing?
Yeah, yeah.
Right? These are great, but then you put out this other stuff, and I'm like, yeah.
It's like Navitimer without a chronograph. It's like, who who on a design team came up with this?
Yeah. Who was like, hey, I have a great idea. Navitimer without the Navi and timing. Oh, okay. Sounds good.
Exactly.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Sorry. Grand Seiko put out 3 new mid-size 44 GS watches. Um, one in blue, one in green, one in pink. I don't think they're anything special over the top, but I know a lot of people in the past have said, well, they only really put out a lot of watches in like 40, 41. I wish they'd put out some smaller stuff because,
Yeah, for sure.
their cases, they're not crazy long, but they'll definitely hit the edges of your wrists if you have a small wrist. So these are great for people with smaller wrists. I really like the color of blue they chose. I'm probably not going to buy one of these. They don't really strike my fancy that much. But like if you were like somebody who's staunchly in the I'm a big Japanese watch fan or whatever, and you wanted something that would satiate like your mid-size dress sport watch, like your Oyster Perpetuals and stuff, this is for you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah,
kind of
yeah.
who this hits. It's not a huge demographic, I don't think, but I mean, they're nice. They're nothing to write home about, but for the people
No,
who need
I think
those
I think
mid-sized
it's
watches,
yeah, I think exactly that's where we're at. It's just that people want something a little bit different. And a lot of Grand Seiko cases, like you mentioned, it's the same phenomenon as Nomos. They're just long
yeah,
lugs. You know what I mean? So you have this very kind of long, case dimension. So a normal 41 millimeter case wears like a 42 or 43, given how long the lugs are. So by scaling it down, I think it's going to be much more comfortable for a lot of people that are looking for a smaller watch, and that's cool. Hey, give the people what they want. Interesting colors. I love the pink. Thought it was odd that it had a green second hand,
yeah,
but
that is
there's
strange.
probably like a season story there somewhere that I don't really care to know. But it's cool. Whatever. They look nice, and I think that this case was only previously on leather strap before. Right now, it's on bracelet.
You may be correct. I'm trying to think. They've put out so many watches in the past like 2 years that I ones that don't super stand out to me. I'm just like I've just breeze over and I really don't pay that much attention to. But I
Yeah.
know that I'm trying to think. There was another pink one that was sort of similar. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look, but I think they were limited editions.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think these are exclusive too. I think these are Australian exclusive.
Oh, why are we even talking
Or no,
about it?
US maybe, US exclusive. Anyway,
Okay.
they're exclusive to somebody.
They're exclusive somewhere, someplace. Who
Oh yeah,
knows?
USA exclusive. They were at their GS9
Okay.
event.
Okay.
So
All right.
I knew they were exclusive to somewhere. I just didn't know where. All I know is everybody's putting out watches that are not USA exclusive lately, and I'm like really just agitated about it. like
Yeah,
ones that
like
I want.
why even report it?
Yeah, kind of just irks me. Uh, let's go to we got two more Secon Timexes.
Pass.
I don't like either one of them. One,
Pass.
the Polar is an automatic. The root beer is a quartz. Now, here's my thing. You made the root beer in the old colorway, which is awesome. Now just make a Q in that color without the dumb Duff beer on it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want
I would buy
I don't
this.
want to Homer Simpson Duff beer on
That's
my
what I'm
cup.
saying. I would buy this without the Duff beer.
Yeah.
Like I love this colorway. I like it on the older. I prefer the older Rolex to the newer root beer.
Yep.
You know, the Clint Eastwood. I like that one much better. I would buy this if you got rid of that stupid beer, even though it's a root beer, whatever. The Polar has a penguin on it, and yeah, I really don't know what
Dumb.
else to say about it.
Dumb.
Again, these aren't your nicknames. I don't.
Yeah, we talked about this last episode or the episode before. It's
It's
like
a head scratcher. It
it's
really
a head
is.
scratcher because it's not your history. It's like it's one of these things. It's like it leaves me confused because it's like, okay, I get that, people call things Hulks and root beers and polars and all this stuff, but it's like that's Rolex terms, not Timex terms. And it's like you said before, like who are you trying to capitalize on with this?
I don't know, but I know they're limited editions, and who knows if they'll sell out or not. But
Now,
I'm
one
trying to
thing,
think of who I know who to buy one, and I can't think.
yeah, I mean, I don't know of anybody, but one thing I was wondering if you saw, I was just on their website and Timex came out with like a Mark II, Omega Mark II, like homage watch.
Oh, I did see that.
They're
I
calling
did
it the
see that one.
Legacy to Know chronograph in 42 millimeters.
I saw that. It's got that nice big
Yeah, it's like
oblong case. Yeah.
the barrel shaped case.
Yep.
It's kind of nice. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. I think I saw it in the gold tone, and I like scrolled over it, and I was like, oh wait, let me go back to that. What is that?
Yeah, there's a gold tone one and a steel one with a white dial.
Yep. Yeah, I did see that. So I guess while we're on root beer, we could stick with it and do the Oris Diver 75, and it's in collaboration with Collective Horology. And this is sort of that retro looking diver that they do. Like they had a Diver 65 edition of like this also, where they have sort of the Art Deco block numerals on it at the 12,
Yeah.
6, 9, 3. And
Well, this was the original Oris Diver 65.
yes,
Like this was the
yes, it
same
was.
dial as the original one, the one that I have.
Right.
And they just, you know, shag carpeted it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Austin Powers would wear this for sure.
It's good looking. I mean, I like
No,
the
I
watch
like
a
it.
lot.
It's
I
kind of
think
out
it's
there, but
fantastic, actually.
it's kind of out there, but I do like it. It's definitely very orange and sunburst and you probably gonna have a hard time matching it, but I like it. Again, it's similar colors to the Rolex root beer that I enjoy, so I like it.
Yeah,
It's got
yeah,
like dark red hues, some orange, yellow. You got that two-tone aspect to it, so I dig it.
yeah.
I think it's cool.
And it's two-tone bronze, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, it's a good looking watch. I think if you are part of Collective Virology, go get it. I think it's cool. I think it's funky enough and different enough. And it's refreshing to see Oris kind of do a model that goes back to the original Diver 65 dial because I think that's honestly what made that watch what it is. And these kind of more Spartan Diver 65s that look kind of like, standard, you know, remove the name off the dial dive watch from the 60s and 70s. They just look too ubiquitous to me. So I like that this is much more funky. I think it's much more of a standout. So this is hot. I like it.
I do too. So here's one of the watches I was talking about before. So Seiko decided to pull another legacy diver from their collection and re-release it in the new Seiko 5. So you've probably seen the old yellow divers that they put
Yep.
out.
Yep.
Well, now they have this one. It's the SBSA 251. It's gone. I tried to get one, couldn't. So bright yellow, 38 mil Seiko 5 Sports, and they only made however many hundred of them, 300, and they were only
Really?
through a Japanese retailer.
Oh my
And
God.
so, I was translating websites, and And I was even in there on the day it happened. I checked right before I went into a meeting. Wasn't up yet. I checked when I got out. Gone. I was like, okay, never mind. Not that I'm even convinced that they would have let me order it, because like I even tried to get another watch recently that was like a UK drop, and it was like,
Yeah.
oh, you don't live here, and I'm like, dude, who cares? In
It's
the
like I just want to buy
in
it.
the time of global commerce, you give a shit where I live,
Yeah, apparently.
you
But see,
know?
this one is cool because I'm looking it up. This one's cool because it actually has the right second hand as opposed to the stupid one that they always put on modern, Seiko
Oh
fives.
yeah,
It's got the Martini olive second hand instead of
yep,
the,
yep.
Loom pip at the back of the second hand, which doesn't make sense at all. This watch is cool because essentially, minus the water resistance rating, it looks identical to what it used to. It's got the same loom plots, which were more squared, as opposed to the kind of like circle and rounded rectangles. This looks like my Seiko diver.
Yeah,
It's kind of sweet, actually.
so I wanted to get that one to put it next to the teal one I got, and no dice. So oh well.
Darn you!
Yeah. They also put out a blacked out, almost like a fuchsia GMT look. Like if you know
Yeah, that one's
the
kind of cool. I'm
if
not
you know
gonna
the
lie.
fuchsia Rolex ones. Yeah, I'm not huge into this type of stuff, and I think it's through a collaboration with some skateboard
Yeah,
something or other. But it's kind of neat looking, and I'm curious because the renders look good because the blue and purple like pop. I'm
yeah,
curious to see what it looks like in real life.
yeah. I mean, me too. I saw it. It's like, yeah, it's for a skateboarder. Yuto Hiragome. Um, I mean, from some of the photos, it looks pretty nice. It's kind of got like a PVD case, all black. PVD Jubilee bracelet, red GMT hand, which I
Yep.
think is a little bit of a miss. I would have gone for the purple. I think that would have been pretty cool. But I think it looks cool. I think it looks nice. It's different enough.
Yeah, so that's SSK027, or if you like JDM, SBSC015. Yeah, no, so it's in that newer Seiko 5 Sport GMT case, a little bigger than the one I was just talking about, but still pretty cool. So if you're into all that and you like that sort of future Rolex look, maybe check it out. I don't know how many they're made. I don't know, limited edition and all, but
Yeah, whatever. If
whatever.
you like it enough, you'll
That's
hunt
just
one
like
down.
par for the course now, right? When watches, everything is limited edition. I don't know how many. I'll look if it's there. Maybe I'll buy it. Whatever.
And I remember just a few short years ago, and everyone's like, "I hate limited editions. I'm done with all these limited editions." And now look where
Why
we
do they
are.
make so many of it? Why is
It's
it limited edition of 10,000? Because when
yeah,
it's 200, you don't get one.
exactly. And here we are. Here we are. Come full circle. I
Uh,
hope you were happy.
all right, one more limited edition for you, and then we can hang it up. I don't think we ever talked about Boulder Supply Co. on here before. So they
We
maybe once.
we have at one point because I own one.
It might have been on like a I don't think we did many micro brand episodes.
I know we talked about them before.
It might have been on like an affordable episode or something.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Okay.
Now that you mentioned that, definitely was.
But so they are putting out a GMT in collaboration with Worn and Wound. It is the 3XT GMT limited edition. It's powered by Miyota 9075 automatic GMT movement. And I believe it's, I think, 100 of each color. So there's two colors. One is sort of like a gray, blue, green look, and the other one is all over the place. Kind of looks like a rowing blazers type of thing. But
Yeah.
the layout is really cool on these, and they have two crowns. So you're getting an internal rotating disc on it for the um, extra time zone. There's you got to look close on this one because there's a really small GMT scale with a really tiny GMT hand, and in the pictures, that tiny GMT hand is perfectly aligned with the hour hand. So I thought it was just the booty of the hour hand, but it's not. That's the GMT hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought originally because I'm not seeing that, I was like, I wonder how this, movement is gonna achieve this because then you gotta have some rotating discs and all this fun stuff going on. And I was like, oh, this might be really cool. And I was like, oh no, it's just a hand, which
Well,
is fine. But these are just cool layout. A lot of geometry going on here,
Yeah,
squares and
and this is
rectangles and
and this
triangles.
is a brand that a lot of people like. It's they make great affordable price points. They make really nice designs. I can tell that they're kind of their own design language, which I appreciate.
Yep, you get points for
And
originality,
yeah, I mean, you definitely, and they do cool stuff.
and they are made to be a tool. Well, they're made to last, right? That's like kind of
Yeah, I
the
mean,
idea
like,
behind it.
yeah, they're like adventure watches, you know? They're meant to be tool watches, meant to be adventure watches. So it's kind of cool that they're doing that kind of stuff and doing something unique. And I like it. I You can tell that their design is well thought out. It's riffing on certain classic elements from different watches over the years, but I think that they do a lot of fun stuff that makes it special for them, which I appreciate.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it for the new stuff. We can get into the tea for the week.
There's a lot of it.
There's a lot of it. Where to start? Well, Timepiece Gentleman finally got his, and he's going away, it appears. For those who don't know, he ran a really big consignment Ponzi type scam, and he's not giving anybody their money back. So it was weird. I mean, a few months ago, well, I guess let's go back a little farther. A couple times there was like these questionable publicity stunt type things, right? Where people were like, whoa, his stuff is gone. Like he's up and left his little, I don't know if it was like a storefront or an office or whatever, but he's gone. He's
Yeah.
like his stuff is boarded up and he's out. Like what happened?
Yeah.
People
Yeah,
were like he's
exactly.
is he cutting and running? And they're like, oh no, it's just a publicity stunt. It was just to get on the radar or like drum up some hype again or whatever. People were like, all right, well that's weird and shady. Well, okay, like it's like faking your own death. Like all
Yeah.
right.
Exactly. I mean
So
that
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 happened like once or maybe even twice, and
yeah.
then
Yeah.
but that was like for me that was like the you've marked yourself as shady at this point,
Oh, for sure.
right?
For sure.
I mean,
Without question.
Lambos and weird stuff aside, like that, you put a target on yourself there.
But that's always what has been for me the metric. Like I know you sell watches. I don't need to know what kind of car you drive. I don't need to know what kind of nightclubs you're hanging out at. I understand it's all part of your persona to elevate yourself, but to me, it's like, is this sustainable? And if you're so concerned about doing all these things, how concerned are you for the actual business that you're doing?
Yeah.
And to me, that has never really panned out well for most people, from my experience.
Well, I'll be honest. I feel that way about many people at businesses.
Yeah.
Like I feel that like I'll give you an example. I went to a buddy of mine's workplace
Okay.
and he worked for an advertising agency in the city. They were owned by a company that owns Yahoo and AOL and whoever else, but the ad side of it. And
Okay.
I go there and he's like, yeah, come by. We'll have lunch. I'm like, okay. I come by. Nobody's working. Everybody's
Mm.
bopping around the office, playing ping pong, drinking free coffees and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, what gives, dude? And he's like, not as long as you get all your work done, they don't care what you do. And I'm like, how is this a sustainable model? Keep in mind, pre-COVID,
Yeah.
pre Elon going nuts on the workforce type of thing. But I'm just like,
Yes.
this cannot be sustainable.
Yeah. It's
And like,
not.
so we go down a floor. They bring in like vendors for lunch. I'm like,
Who's paying for
something
all
about
this?
this smells like
Yeah.
something about it just stinks. Like this is awesome. I wish I could do this every day and make a great salary and not get hassled by anybody. But like, I realize there's going to be push comes to shove part times, parts of the year, and that it probably gets cutthroat at certain times, and just the in between is just this. And I was like,
Yep.
but I'm like, it would be hard for me as a boss, manager, whatever, to stomach this when if I had people who were even coming close to not meeting their goals. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure.
That's just me though. Like I'm just I don't know. I'm not trying to tell everybody I'm just like this crazy hustler, but like I don't know. I hustle by nature. It's just what I'm used to doing. Like
Yeah, it's the same
the
for
sun
me.
is
It's
up.
like,
I feel like I have to make some hay. You know what I mean?
absolutely. You feel like you got to contribute to something. To
Right.
something.
And so it's kind of a similar thing when I you see these swanky dinners and nightclubs and Lambos, and you're just like, first of all, is this just watches? Is always a with that kind of money flowing, like you never know.
Yeah.
Could be anything, right? I mean, hell, restaurant owners usually get in that kind of trouble because restaurants are cash and they cash flow through their business a lot. So like, there's always, somewhere to squeak some money out of. Like I used to know a guy who owned a diner, and he used to just as soon as he closed the diner for the weekend, he was on a flight to Atlantic City. It was all legit, he's gambling his own money, but still crazy. Like,
Yeah, but it's like one bad week, one bad weekend, that all goes away.
oh
You
no,
know?
no doubt, no doubt. It's fast living, right? That's
Yeah, I guess.
but yeah, man, it's I mean, I'm never really surprised at the with the amount of money that flows through the industry. And don't get me wrong, I know watches are incredibly marked up, and there's big profit margins on some of them and all this other stuff. And if you've got the ability to source hard to get stuff, you're just raking cash. I get that. But there's always a sort of a where there's smoke, there's fire in some
Yes.
instances. But needless to
100%.
say, it appears he's going away for a while. So we could put that saga to rest, I believe.
I hope it was worth it. Hey,
Yeah.
maybe he can hang out with Horology Republic. They'll be best friends.
I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Exactly.
But
Oh man. Well,
yeah, so that was the first little bit of tea. There was also a kind of questionable situation at the Christie's auction, and I think you and I were talking about this before. I think if Periscope has taught us anything,
just don't do it.
just don't do it. Just don't even go.
Don't even bid, don't even look, don't even like just let it happen because
Might be fun to watch, but
I mean, yeah, but it's just they're so full of scams. It's like if people are getting, scammed left and right. There's fraudulent watches. People are duping people. And the thing is like there's no experts. Nobody can guarantee you anything. There's just so much stuff that's going on that's just like, okay, this is a little shady.
yeah, I mean, from what I saw, and again, I just kind of read up on it briefly because I saw so many people just outraged over what was going on.
Yeah,
Allegedly, like right before the auction, they raised all the minimum bids on like everything, and
which
they,
is already
right,
suspect.
which is
Just
sus. And they said it was because they had a third party who was going to guarantee their items. So basically, somebody is guaranteeing them a sale one way or another. So at that point, they're like, okay, we'll bump it up because then we've already basically got a bid. Um,
which is something I've never heard of before. Maybe I just don't pay
allegedly,
much.
allegedly from this article, it's commonplace. But again, who establishes if that's commonplace or
Yeah,
not?
exactly.
Like,
This doesn't sound like very cool, commonplace to me. You know what I mean?
so, um, and then the other claim that somebody noticed was that all of the watches were going for the same percentage markup, which is so they were all going for min bid plus 26%, which you were saying was probably the commission. So who knows? Who knows what, some people were wondering if it was the um like the original estate buying them back or what, but it's just it again, it just smells.
Yeah.
And like you said, we've seen some of the watches that come to auction this year. I mean, where does it end? How are you going to verify it, right? You're a guy who's going to bid on this. I've got a lot of money. I'm going to bid on a watch, a real Grail type piece. It comes from this guy's private collection. He's got Marlon Brando's GMT Master.
Yeah.
So who are you going to bring to verify that watch?
Yeah.
Because
I
the
mean,
people who are letting it change hands, they're going to say it's legit. They want their damn commission.
absolutely. And at the end of the day, they're not liable for anything that's being sold or transferred or whatever. And to me, this whole like raising the margins or minimum bids, one, it just helps Christie's hyper inflate all the pricing. Or it was Christie's, right? Is that
Yeah,
what
it
you're
was
talking about?
Christie's.
Yeah. I mean, it just helps them hyperinflate all the pricing, which to me is already schemy as it is. Because now they're like, well, we have this magical investor, and there's always some type of magical investor. You know what I
Isn't
mean?
there?
Like it's like we had some magical investor that's coming in, and they're gonna pay us this amount of money. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
get
you
out of
remember
here, get out
the
of here.
two the between the green and the Tiffany Patek. Both
Oh my
times there
god.
was always
Yeah,
somebody swooping in who's like this,
yeah,
and then it turns out it's like, oh, it's a who's who of whatever, and you're like, oh, okay, I see what happened here.
Yeah, it's like it's basically the watch world equivalent of nepotism. Got it. But again, that's kind of my point with all this stuff. It's like there's always somebody, magical investor, swoops in last minute, wants to do all these things, and talk about all these stuff, and it just seems too shady. It seems like it's too good to be true because in many cases it is, as has been proven by Periscope so many times. And if you thought that you wanted to go get into an auction related scenario, just just go read a Periscope article if you have not read one yet. It will terrify you beyond all recognition of ever wanting to put your money into an auction. And I don't care how pedestrian it might actually seem, it's terrifying because there's no experts, there's nobody's going to help you, nobody's going to get your money back. It's gone. It's gone.
Yeah. It's so you're rolling the dice. It's you're better off just staying away on that one.
100%.
Yeah. But like I said, it might be fun to watch.
I mean, everyone's like, yeah, I was live streaming the auction. I'm like, you care that
Oh no,
much?
I wouldn't watch it on online. I think it would be fun to be in the room.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But I'm just like, the people are like, yeah, man. It's like I woke up at 2 in the morning to live stream the auction. I'm like, why? Like,
You got
do
nothing better to do.
I was like, do you have nothing else to do with your life? So you're not even like watching like a sports match. You're like, yeah, but this is watchmaking history. I'm like, it's all fake.
Is it though?
It's all fake. It's all made up. It's all fake. And at the end of the day, it's all arbitrary. Because all of these prices are only what somebody's willing to pay for them.
Yeah, and it's all history till the next one.
Exactly.
So
And there's always going to be a
just
next one.
just another day. Just another day in the old watch industry. I forgot. GPHG happened. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Meh.
same old there.
Meh.
I don't think there was one thing that I was like, wow, man, awesome.
But you know how I feel about GPHG.
No, yeah, we did last time it came around, we kind of razzed them, and that was that.
Yeah. That's kind of the extent of what I need to do. But
I mean, listen, it's cool to see people, like it's cool to see John from Brew get a GPHG award, but like at the same time, like we're really gonna a lot of these watches were watches that changed color. We put a new color on it and bang, right? The last time was what Black Bay 58 blue. Oh my goodness.
yep, yep, yep.
So it is what it is, but
Well, I mean, hey, kudos to all the winners,
seems like a
all
fun
that
event.
stuff. If you guys want my takes on GPHG, I think you got to listen to last year. I think we talked about it then, but yeah, cool.
Yeah. I just remember that happened also. But
Watch things are happening. Yay.
it was a busy little couple of weeks here.
Yay.
And then finally, which I'm sure everybody's been waiting to hear about.
Well, I don't know if they are because nobody's going to talk about this.
Well, no news outlet's going to talk about this. I
Well,
think I
yeah.
think the collective, I think the probably the content creator folks will talk about it.
Yeah, no, that's true. Okay, you're
I
right.
think
You're right.
Matt and Greg just did their piece today.
Okay,
I don't know if
okay.
it dropped, but I think they were saying they recorded that today.
Got it.
I think listen, it's a little third rail for any publications to talk about because in
Yeah.
turn they're also businesses.
Well, they didn't used to be.
True, but they're also businesses. I'm sure. Listen, if you're one of these places, you're probably looking to maybe hire some of these people, and God knows, there's enough legal papers and things that you have to worry about between things already, right? You don't need any
Mm-hmm.
more.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're never going to touch this. It's like I said, it's a little third rail for them, but as far as whatever you want to call them, the content creators, commentators, whoever, I'm sure everybody's got their own opinion on it. Look, I think many of the people. Well, I guess let's start with what happened. Per a source, aka somebody who was let go by Hodinkee, they have cut now 50% of their company,
That is insane.
and much of it were the people who were there, the creatives, the design team, things like that. Like we're not talking about, big wigs who are, like I said, playing ping pong and doofing off in the office, and then comes,
So the creative and design team.
yeah. So the entire design team is gone. I know that for a fact. Um,
Okay.
some people said, look, it's cheaper to pay content creators, like the people they just brought in,
Yeah.
as opposed to
Salaried employees.
like salaried creatives. Like
Yeah.
we've seen how many people go by the wayside in the past few years. Cole Pennington, Jack
Yeah.
Forrester, right? You've seen all these people who were mainstays, right? They were the
But
who's who, right?
but again, this is what happens when you go public. This
Right.
is what
When you
happens
have
when you
shareholders.
have shareholders, and this is what happens when you allow big business corporations to take a foothold on your business. They will eventually destroy it. And that's exactly what we're happening. And I called this.
You
I
did.
said this on one of our Friday night lives many, many, many months ago. Sometime at the beginning of this year, I think we were still doing a few of them here and there. And I called it. I said, once you start seeing a lot of big heads, literally institutions that built Houdinki leave, this is indicative of a much bigger problem. Because these are guys that were like, hey man, we're writing stuff and we go out and we drink whiskeys and we smoke cigars and we are a family unit and we all, holiday together and all this stuff. And these were guys that were really passionate about this. And they were very much a tight knit group of people that inspired other collectors to want to read Houdinki by their journalistic integrity, their writing skills, all the stuff that was captivating for them. It made people want to go to the site. And once they started all backing out, leaving for XYZ reasons, I knew that this was indicative of a much bigger problem. That corporately or within the structure of the organization, that something had changed, that now it wasn't about watches anymore. It was about profitability, it was about margins, and it was just about putting half-baked out content because the name Houdinki can stand on its own. And that's 100% not true.
And so I think all of the Crown and Caliber staff was let go. I know plenty of them at least were. I don't know about all of them, but I know
Yeah.
that's more or less
Well,
been
and this is coming off the already 20% that was cut back in September.
right. So I don't know if that's 50 total or 50 of the remaining, but
I
either
would
way,
imagine
yeah.
it's probably 50. So it was probably initially 20, then they probably needed to cut an additional 30 for a total of 50. But still, to cut 50% of your workforce, that's nuts. I mean, you have an office of 100 people, that's 50 people
Yeah.
gone.
That's like Thanos.
I mean, just snapped, Security will send you your stuff in the mail. I mean, like that's nuts. And that is wild. But I saw it coming. I'm not at all shocked and I'm not at all surprised. And I'm pissed for these people that have really put their blood, sweat, and tears into doing Houdinki and really, kind of pushing, them forward. And now all of a sudden they're gone. You know?
Yeah. And
But
I
I mean, like
think
go ahead.
I well, sorry. I think I was gonna say I think they are at least grateful that some people were willing to talk about it because listen, I mean, only a handful of them have a big enough reach. Shout out to our good friend Mark on Watches who listens to this podcast, man. Like those are the people I feel bad for, man. Like
Yeah.
those are people who I consume their content. You know what I mean? Like those are the people I
Yeah.
used to go to like the sites for, and now they're gone.
Yeah, I know.
It's disappointing. I think it's disappointing for everybody who followed that trail of breadcrumbs to get to where they are today. Like, I've said it before. Hodinkee helped me get to where I am today because I had to, you have to ignite that fire somehow, and you
Yeah.
can only do so much googling before you find which sources are better than others and which sources have credibility and have access to all the cool stuff. I just knew they were interviewing athletes that I knew, right? I knew they were interviewing Jose Bautista and whoever else, and I was like, oh, okay, let me check this out, like Howie Kendrick, and I was like, okay, I know who these guys are. Let me check out what's in their collection. Like this is neat, and some of them are not even that like aren't necessarily like whisk type collectors. Some of them just like expensive watches, which is fine. And like I used to think that was kind of neat also. Like I remember Jose Batista had like a ton of Bell and Ross in his collection. He's like, I just like the big gaudy pieces, you know, like
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
that's me.
yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. Like, he's not necessarily just like, meanwhile, like I remember Andre Iguodala, somebody told him, you have to buy this Rolex when you make it big. And that's what he did because he heard that's how you're successful.
Yeah, exactly.
So like, it's just funny to see kind of how their own little, watch adventure went. But that was what got me there. I was looking at that and then I was checking out, oh look, these dudes actually dive with stuff. Oh look, they're comparing a bunch of watches that I want to own. Well, let me check and see which one of these falls in line with me a little better. Now that they're gonna really hash this out. That was the cool stuff to me.
Yeah.
And it's just not there anymore.
No, it's not.
I think I watched a video of a dude eating like a, well, for those who are in the know, it's a chopped cheese, but it's basically, for those outside of New York City, it's a cheeseburger sub. You might know it as.
Yeah.
You ever had a cheeseburger sub?
No.
Picture a Subway sandwich with like ground beef and then cheese melted over the top of shredded
Sounds
lettuce,
amazing.
No, it's great. No, but places outside of the city call it a cheeseburger sub. The bodegas in the city call it a chopped cheese.
Chopped cheese. Okay.
So if you're in the city, like soon, you go to a little spot, make sandwiches, you ask for a chopped cheese, they're going to think you're a local.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. But
Okay.
it's
I
a
like
little
that.
it's
I
a
like
little
that.
magical sandwich that comes out of bodega. But anyway, I just that was like the whole video. It was just a dude, and it was just the camera was towards him with a watch on, and I was like, well, this is weird. I was like, okay.
Well, I mean, it just I mean, all of this stuff has changed so dramatically, and all of the stuff that made Houdinki what it was as an institution is gone. And I knew all of this was changing, bro. I knew all this was changing when Ben Clymer started poking back around.
Like, where you been?
No, I mean,
He's like the deadbeat dad that shows up.
well, it's not even that, because you have to remember when he got bought out, he left. He retired. He started like a golf
He went
app
to go play
because
golf. Yeah.
yeah, he started like an app. He was like golf course,
You
doing
should
his
play with
thing.
DJ Khaled. I hear he's a big
You know,
golf enthusiast.
he's in LA, whatever. He's in New York, he's everywhere. Then all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, I'm kind of like coming back around Houdinki." And it's like I knew this was going to be a problem because let's be honest, Ben was and is still very much the face of Houdinki.
Yeah, for sure.
Whether he's directly involved or indirectly involved, he very much still is the face of Houdinki. So I know whoever's running the ship now was like, Ben, we need
We
you
got
to
to get you
come
back. Yeah, we got to get you back.
because you need to start kind of weaving your way into certain things. And that's when you start seeing him do more talking watches. Now, granted, he's going to do them with more high profile celebrities, Ed Sheeran, John, all that stuff, right? But he's back in the fray, and he's back in the fray because he has to be. He is the face of the brand, and without Ben, I mean, I was just looking at it right now. I was looking at the contributors for Houdinki, and I remember when it used to say editors. Now it just says contributors. So this just tells me that every single one of these people doesn't exactly work for the company, but they're contracted by the company. These are freelance writers that are probably paid per writing segment, and they put out content. But that's also why their content is so disjointed, because there's no consistency here. There's no movement expert the way that Jack Forrester was.
Yeah, there's no
there's no
body of work.
Yeah, there's no storyteller the way that Jason Heaton was. You lost so many of these people that left for various reasons, but you don't have anybody that's replaced them. And I think that's ultimately the fundamental downfall of Houdinki at this point, and why I don't think that this is done. I don't think it's done. They're going to have to drastically right the ship, or it's going to get even worse than it is right now. Because what they've done over the years is they've removed the people, or whether voluntary or involuntary, they've removed the people that built the institution that is Houdinki. The people that made it a household name, whether you're in the watch community or outside of it. And by doing so, what they've created is a vacuum of content that is really vacuous. There's nothing substantive at all. It's, watch spotting, and it's, go check out this live execution, or,
It's kind of
here's,
shallow, right?
it's
It's kind of
so shallow. It's so shallow. There's no substance. And it's just like, oh yeah, we did this and we did this and we did this and we saw this. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like Leica's advertising on Houdinki. Like it just seems dumb, and it doesn't make sense. I watched the most recent reference points video. Danny Milton did one several days ago, and it was about the Seamaster 300, and he was talking with this expert guy, a quote unquote expert. I've never even heard of this dude, and expert guy. Like he obviously knows what he's talking about, but it's just not comfortable in front of the camera at all. Just seems so robotic in how he explains things. And they had to have like James Stacy there to kind of like ask him more questions. Like, hey, we need more clarification. Like, you can't just give us one line answers in this interview. Like, we need more for this 35-minute video. And it was so awkward. It was not inspiring. It was not in any way like, oh my God, like I need to go out and buy these things. You know what I mean? That's what I felt that they used to be. Like I remember when John Buse and Jack Forster, they would do like there's 3 for 3, like, three best watches based on this respective category, and they would duke it out under this price point, whatever. And they would talk about why the pros and cons. It was cool. It was interactive. And now there's nothing. It's all vacuous and completely empty and devoid of any real substance. And to me, that is a shame, because they've alienated their fan base who built their brand, and they've alienated the people, the editors and the contributors that also built their brand. And subsequently, they've killed off their client base. I mean, that's what's happening. You're losing money because you drove everyone that used to consume your content and willingly pay for it. You drove them away. They don't want to buy your Houdinki magazine anymore because it sucks. Just because you post pretty pictures and a few little anecdotal stories does not make a editorial magazine. I'm not going to spend $40 to get it. Sorry. And then you pulled out a big move when you bought Crown and Caliber at the peak of the watch market. Yeah, you bought at the top of the watch buying crisis, which nothing about reselling watches, by the way. But you bought this company that has good expertise in doing it. And all of a sudden, well, the watch market's going to correct, because whatever we were experiencing the last 2-3 years was not sustainable at all.
Well, first of all, I mean, I would like to, I'm going to pat ourselves on the back on this one. We did say this was inevitable. I mean, 100%. we had an entire episode dedicated to sort of the idea of it not being sustainable to have hype watch insanity.
Yeah.
For that long.
No, it just, and anybody with a brain could understand this. And yet it seems as though somehow LVMH and Houdinki did not. Like, I don't get this.
I mean, it was a strange play to go out on luxury goods after 2020, right?
Yeah.
Like, you knew globally nobody was doing that good. And what's the first thing that falls out in an economy? Luxury goods.
Absolutely.
Because they're completely unnecessary.
Yeah.
Are there people with mega dollars who are probably mopping up some decent deals right now? Of course.
Yeah. I mean, now is, honestly, I would give it another 6 months. But right now, you're starting to enter the good times again, where this is where you start buying.
Yeah.
You start stockpiling and you start buying stuff that was maybe not within your wheelhouse or not affordable anymore, because this stuff is going to start to crater in price point. Everything's coming down because people can't liquefy their inventory. They got too much. They got to offload it. And this is the right time to start buying stuff again. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing for the market to correct, because it needs to correct. All of these like super inflated 3, 4, 5 times over retail price. It's all manufactured. It's not real. And yet people got away with pushing it. And Houdini's a perfect monster in this scenario. You read a nice editorial piece about how collectible and rare this piece is, and oh, by the way, you happen to have it in your store. Fantastic. Let's go get it. It's self-aggrandizing, and I've never understood it. Didn't make sense to me. I understand it from a business perspective and a capitalistic perspective. I totally get it. But from a pure watch perspective, a WIS perspective, I knew at some point this was going to be a corrupted business model. Because you can't do both. You got to pick a lane. Are you a shop, a retailer, or are you editorial?
Yeah, that's tough.
And this needs to be a lesson to everybody. If you are a editorial and you are running a business, you have deals with manufacturers and you are a retailer or whatever, you have to be wary. You need to be wary. Because if you start getting too big for your britches, this is what's going to happen. And I'm mad because, and I know I've been ranting and raving on this for several minutes now, but I'm mad because there's been a lot of great people that you and I have crossed paths with, that we've messaged before, that we've talked to, that they are on the bad end of this.
Yeah. Well, some people ask me, they're like, damn, man, you really went in. I said they fired all the people I like.
Yeah. And that's the thing. And here's the thing, nobody else is calling them on their crap. And that's the part that also pisses me off. Is
Come on, bro.
we're just gonna we're
Pink
supposed to just
strap,
take
pink
this
slip.
laying
Come on.
down?
That was A1.
No,
I
100%.
I gave
Your comment
myself
section was blowing up,
I gave myself a kudos for that one.
but you were the only one that was doing it. You were the first one to do it. And then all of a sudden, slowly but surely, all the little meme accounts, oh, this is kind of a big thing. Let's start talking about it. But that was kind of the extent of it. And that's the thing that makes me upset. It's like, I know that there's not going to be any type of direct watch enthusiast editorial that's going to write on this. Not going to happen. But it also is a sad state of affairs when the world of journalism will not cover a story like this.
I mean,
I
even
mean,
if you
that's,
just did it from an like if you didn't put the feelings into it, you just did it from a strict economic
yeah,
standpoint,
this is a business
like
thing.
saying sign of the times,
Yeah.
reduction in workforce, like luxury goods
Like
projections.
why doesn't Forbes write about this? Why doesn't Bloomberg write about this? These
Yeah,
are not
they
watch
seem damn New York
institutions.
Times always seem to show up when the going's good.
Yeah. Like, the only thing I can find was from like an obscure fashion thing that I came across on the internet from like 3 months ago, or whenever September was, when they laid off their first 20% of staff.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. Everybody keeps going source, 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 and I go, do I need a source? I'm getting firsthand accounts. I was like,
Well, everyone's gonna, look,
I need to read up on this. I'm like, it's not published. I was like,
people are
they
not
just
going to
got
publish it.
yeah, they just got
This is where it's
canned,
going to
dude.
happen. This is where people are going to talk about it. It's here. 50% of the workforce is gone. I don't even recognize a single person that is listed as a contributor to Houdinki outside of Ben Clymer and maybe James Stacy. And obviously Danny Milton's there too, but he's still relatively a newbie. He joined what, 2 years ago or
Yeah,
something like that. He's nobody. He's not a Jack Forrester, that's
no,
for sure.
certainly not.
He's not a John Buse. He's not a Jason Heaton. All the guys that did this, laid the foundation for these people. I don't even. Who the heck is Aaron Wilborn?
Got me.
I I have no idea who that is, and I don't want to sound like a jerk, but it's just like, you're not even listed as an editor. You're a contributor. Like, why even have your name there? I don't know, man. It gets my blood boiling because for so many years they have been the preeminent place for watches, and we're starting to see that dramatically change.
Yeah. It's just a shame. It's a shame. Like I said, for some reason, it seems like all the good people always get the short end of the stick. But it was a lot of people who used to. These are people who would message me and say, "Dude, we're passing your stuff around the office. Like we think it's hilarious. Like we know, like even though they're kind of the butt of the joke, like they got it. They got
Yeah.
it wasn't malicious. That it was just like, come on, this is
And
a little bit funny,
people who didn't take themselves too seriously.
right?
People that wanted to have fun in the industry, but again, this is what happens when the industry gets corrupted by greed. Big companies, big businesses want to take things over, and they're going to ruin it. They will ruin it 100 times out of 100. It may not be immediate, but you have to remember there's no investment for them. Like, I understand Ben Clymer. Like, he built this thing from nothing all the way from the ground up. You know what? It was your baby. You sold it and made a ton of money. Good for you. That's a great American story. It's a great business story. But whoever takes over, if it's not one of your direct people, whoever it is, an investor group or partner group, or in this case, LVMH, they don't care. They're buying an intellectual property, they're buying a name. They don't care what the reputation is of that name after what they've done to it. And I think at some point there may be a time where Hodinkee is gone, or at least at this point not relevant.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems like they just kept a lot of the old fat cats in the boardroom, and that's who they're rolling with now. I mean, I don't know how that's going to translate
But that's again, that's my
going down
point.
the line.
That's my point. Who's writing the articles? Who's evaluating all of your pre-owned watches?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Have you seen articles lately? They're getting mighty short
No,
across the board.
there's nothing. That's what I'm saying. Oh, cool. We got a photo report. Oh, great. Probably fewer than 200 words. Oh, come check out the JLC, Reverso exhibit in New York. Awesome. Cool.
No, and
Thanks,
I'm saying
bud.
like I'm seeing even on other sites, like we're talking like 1,500 words max. I don't know. It's weird. I'm seeing a lot of really short articles.
It's everywhere because nobody cares about articles anymore. And that's the thing that people don't understand. People still want to consume content. Okay? You're not going to convince me that in this luxury segment, a TikTok influencer is going to have my best interest at heart.
No, hell no.
Okay? It's just not going to happen. They don't understand this world. Okay? And for
Do
them,
everything for it's all about likes and clicks and shares.
exactly. But that's all, it's all superfluous. At the end of the day, it means nothing. So when you're out of likes and clicks and engagement and algorithm boosts and all that stuff, you have nothing. Why do people even come to your site? I remember the days when I would read Hodinkee 5 times a day. I'd wake up in the morning, first thing I would check was Hodinkee. Midday or so, lunch, there'd be more articles that came out as people were writing stuff at the office and posting it, and there would be new releases of articles almost 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Now I can go several days without having checked Hodinkee one time because there's still nothing new on the website. That's a disgrace. That's a disgrace to anybody who helped build Hodinkee into what it is today, which at now is not much. And it's depressing and sad.
Yeah.
It's depressing and it's really sad. So we'll see, man. We'll see. I hope that nobody has insurance with Hodinkee because that's probably next to go. I mean, seriously. Once you start cutting deep. I mean, you're cutting watchmakers, you're cutting creative. Like, who's recording all these videos now? Who's going to do the editing content? Like this, like, you know what it's like to make content.
Yeah, it sucks.
Now, imagine if this was your full time job and they just fired you. Who's going to do it now? The board members? No, what's going to end up happening is whoever's still left, they're going to force everybody to wear multiple hats to do all of the content creation and editing, and it's going to be half baked crap, and it's going to dive them even further into BS because it's just not sustainable.
You mean to tell me how to dress your Alpine Eagle is not quality content?
Oh my god, don't make me want to kill myself. I saw that, and I don't know who posted the meme, but they posted the one with the guy walks in, he's like, "What the you know, it's
Joe
oh,
Pesci.
yes, thank you, Joe Pesci. He goes, "What the it's all this." And I died laughing. I think it was Horological Dictionary that posted that one. I saw it and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. People are always surprised. I'm like, I really don't follow anybody.
Yeah, I don't know who it was, but and here's another one, dude. Like how to style your Cartier tank. Like, why? Like, why are you telling me how to wear a watch, Houdinky? Why don't you tell me how the watch is freaking made?
Yeah, it's a weird idea.
They're turning this into a lifestyle fashion thing, which it already was a lifestyle thing, but now it's like a whole like fashion
Yeah,
thing.
it was like a niche lifestyle thing where it was kind of fun and quirky.
But the people that wrote about it also knew how niche and quirky it was.
Yeah, you know, Jason Heaton talking about his Land Rover and whatever.
Yeah.
Like that was like their thing.
So here's one of the comments about how to. Oh my gosh. So here we have this ostensibly old money watch being worn by and styled with exactly the wrong match. Well done. Best part of how to wear it series are the comments. At least y'all aren't complaining about date windows. Progress. Nope, nope, and more nope. How to wear it? No. Really like no. I like the idea of addressing fashion as an element of watches, but perhaps such avant-garde clothing is a bit too much for those visiting H initially interested in the mechanics of watch escapements or whether dive watches should have date windows. Exactly. It's like who are you marketing this to? Like
It's a good question.
everyone's like, this is dumb. And this is like every comment. I don't care for this particular watch or the outfits, but this is the way all hands-on articles should be photographed. Okay. The photographs are good. That's for sure. But this one? What's happened to this site? I went from multiple visits every day to checking in every few days to wondering why I've clicked on it, and it's stuff like this has got me where I am.
Dude, that was you.
Yeah, basically, this is this guy. I mean, but this is and honestly, this is completely unscripted. But this is ridiculous. Uh, and then somebody went further on the say says yes, Udinki has definitely changed with some staff changes. It is drifting towards Mr. Porter. I'm not saying it is worse nor better, as that is completely subjective. And take a stand, buddy. But it doesn't resemble the Houdinki that brought us here. It's like everything I've already said at this point, people are picking up on. And this is just one of their most recent articles. And it's not even an article, it's like a photo shoot lookbook of like how to wear a tank. But it's a Cintre, like one of the most rare tanks you can get, and your normal person is just not going to wear this. Like they have a dude wearing it like in a tracksuit. Like you're not going to wear a Cartier tank with a tracksuit, bro. Like it looks cool for the Gen Z model, but it's just not realistic. But whatever. I don't know. I don't know anything about anything. So we'll see.
It's not good. It's not good.
No, not at all.
So I
All
don't know.
right. I don't
Keep
think
an
this
eye on
horse
it.
is getting up.
Yeah, yeah. No, that horse. Stop. It's already dead.
You're killing him. You're killing him. Oh man. Well, tomorrow will be fun.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I'm gonna get this thing up and going before I pass out from illness. Um, anything else on the old slate there, kid?
No, man, everything's good on my end. But thanks for letting me rant and rave a little bit. Hopefully, the folks at home enjoy it.
Yeah, I
And
think they will.
and DM us. I want to know your thoughts. I'd like to kind of create a little forum around this about what you guys think. I mean, a lot of people are not going to really cover it or mention it, so it'd be kind of interesting to hear what your thoughts are with regards to what you think is going on at Hodinkee, or if you have any additional information you would like to provide us. Maybe we'll do a follow-up episode or something.
Yeah. All right then. Till next time, we'll catch you later on Rich Cheese Radio. Peace.
Peace.